Big opening. Pass 5. Pass 10. Perko to man. And he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards.
Welcome back to the Believe in Badger Football Podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, presented by betonline.ag. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself.
Yeah, buddy.
Matt Bernstein. Bernie, you know what? Badgers won. That's all that matters.
We
They
won.
won. They won.
We're bowling.
The job is posted.
Job's posted.
That is a good sign. We're going to talk about all these things here in just a second on our Monday Morning Fullback podcast. But first, want to remind you guys that we are presented by betonline.ag, the number one place for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it. NFL, NBA, college football, the most important sport that there is. NHL, esports, golf. It's all over there at betonline.ag. Head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit using our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV over at betonline.ag. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Bern, you know what time it is. It's Monday morning fullback time. Time to put 15 minutes on the clock. And we are going to get started here. I thought, this was an interesting game here for the Badgers. Tough spot, but they come out with a dub. Bern, what was your biggest takeaway from the game?
My biggest takeaway is that they didn't stop playing football. And a team like a game like that and at their place, and it looked like it was supposedly sold out with like half the stands full. It cold. It just, even from watching on the couch, like I was like, man, we don't have the momentum. We just don't have like that little bit of to get us to win this game. And to watch like the game come down to the final, minute, final whatever, was awesome. And I feel like that is something special.
Absolutely. And I was super impressed. I'm going to talk about my positives here for the game. First of all, huge shout out to Skylar Bell. I want to shout out Skylar Bell. 1 catch for a touchdown. But what does he do after the touchdown? He pulls up the jersey, shows the 86 for Devin Chandler. And I was actually at the Vanderbilt upset of Florida during this game, watching on my cell phone. So I've got 2 games going at once, and I'm tearing up in the stands. I'm there with my wife and my in-laws. Like, what the heck is happening? Like, Vandy is like marching down the field. Matt, why are you tearing up? Like, you don't understand. Like, we'll talk about this later. That was a really cool moment for me. The last drive, when they got the ball back, I weirdly felt confident that they were going to score. I don't know why. I cannot explain it, but I was happy to see, Garendo and Malusi. Bern, we got to talk about Ches, because I think Ches coming back was probably the reason this offense is able to even score 15 points, because he was, for my money, the best offensive player in the game for the Badgers.
100. And I would agree. When he came in, Ches's game at the beginning, when he first showed up, I was like, he's trying to dance a little bit. He's trying to pitter patter. And now the dude is one cut and goes. And I really find that is my coach used to say, one cut, run up on, the lineman's heels, make a cut and go. Stick your foot in the ground and go. And I feel like that's what he's doing. He brought a little bit of a spark. I thought coaching was pretty solid in the game. I mean, it was pretty field position. We were really struggling. Listen, coaching in some areas. I think our offense needs to be revamped big time. I mean, I think I don't know what you do, but you got to do a lot. That whole section, that whole group needs to be there are some great players, but together they're not doing anything. Dude, we went 8. We threw so Skylar Bell caught 1 out of 8 passes. We went 8 for 18 for like 80 yards. Like, dude, that can't happen in a football game. Did you watch yesterday? People are freezing and throwing the football for 300 yards. Mm-hmm. And you're saying we can't do it?
What I'm saying,
that's my struggle bus.
For me, it's play sequencing, and it's showing that Coach Ingram has never called plays before. He's never been a play caller before this year. And so I
went negative, so we shouldn't have done that first.
No, it's okay.
I don't
this is one of my big we're talking about big takeaways, Bern, and this is one of my big takeaways is that if Ingram is going to be the guy next year, if he's going to stay on his OC, he needs to go to Andy Reid play sequencing camp. Because one of the things I did not see him using stuff in the first half to set up stuff in the second half. I felt like there were no additional wrinkles added after halftime, which is why it was such tough sledding. Nebraska knew what was coming, and this isn't a vintage Wisconsin offensive line that even when you know what's coming, they're still going to beat you, because that unit, it's not been their year. It just hasn't been their year.
What's crazy is we still had over 300 yards, right? We had 318 yards.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this team can't finish. We're not. I don't know what it is. I don't think we're not tough enough. But we're driving. We're moving the ball. We can't throw. So we're asking guys to basically play into like a complete fist fight on the line, and we're moving the ball, and we can't score. Scoring 15 points is never going to win a game. They only had 14. So like, it's a miracle to me. It was one of those like Hanukkah, Christmas miracles early, Thanksgiving miracle early that we won. I think for Jimmy, it's a huge win.
It's a huge
win. Play for him. Listen, these dudes are playing hard football for him. And if you want to look at the positive, the defense is awesome. Like, they only let up 171 yards and they play a majority of the football game. And they were awesome.
Even after the BS targeting call on Herbig, and like, that is all. Don't even get me started on that. Even after he comes out, though, Caden Johnson came in. He was a spark there when he came in. I was really impressed with him. Third-year player out of Minnesota. He was a big piece of that recruiting class when he came in. I think it was the 2020 class. And he's really starting to round into form. He was an amazing athlete in high school coming out. And, he's had to play behind Herbig. Anyone's going to play behind Herbig. You're not going to find much better of an outside linebacker in this scheme. But he got the reps and he came in really well. Peterson came in and got a key sack there in the fourth quarter. Great of the younger outside backers to really come in and step up. And after Herbig went out, other starter CJ Getz, I thought he played his best game of the season. So shout out to the entire linebacking core. I thought, they've been great all season, but they were.
What about the D-line?
D-line. Oh my God.
These guys weren't able to be blocked.
Benton is unbelievable. He is unbelievable as a defensive tackle.
I also think we had, so if I had to we were not able to stop the QB running, and we did have a bunch of times a guy shadowing him, and we just couldn't make it happen, which to me is annoying. But listen, 171 yards, we held him to 14 points.
Anytime you hold a team to under 200 yards, you should win.
And we did win, but right. Okay,
one of the things I want to talk about, though, you mentioned this. They played hard. They didn't play hard. This is the hardest playing team on a snap-to-snap basis, I would say, probably since that 2010 Rose Bowl team. The first one with the 2010 team that lost to TCU in the Rose Bowl, but that had J.J. Watt. It had Monty Ball. It had and guys that just absolutely grinded every single play. Scott Tolzien, the quarterback that year. That team, this team to me, obviously they don't have the talent, they don't have the success, but they are playing as hard as that team did. And that's, to me, sort of what it's reminiscent of, especially that defense, man. They come to play so hard on every single snap. It's absolutely incredible.
But who's the coach of the defense?
Jimmy Leonhard. And
he picked his dudes, and he picked the players, and he went out and did his job.
Yep.
And look at the defensive play.
Yeah.
And so if you're, listen, so let's talk about dude, he got the whole season. All these guys are playing with more adversity. Adversity. It's bananas. One of their friends passed away.
Yep.
One of the iconic running backs for the Badgers passed away. Jimmy took over this team. You're playing away. Everything is up in the air. I don't care what anyone says. Nothing is normal about this year. And these dudes are going out there and just trying their best with what they got. And listen, to win this game at the end of the game is fantastic. I think it's a boost. You have guys who are not giving up. And it's special. And I think that's what Jimmy brings. You had guys giving up in other games. They were tight. This game, not at all. So like listen, in 7 days, if they don't say, Jimmy Leonhard, you're the head coach, there's something completely wrong. And I think Jimmy has a hard task. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to tell him what to do because he is Jimmy Leonhard and he is way more smarter than I am football wise. But if I had to make some suggestions, one, dude, you can say whatever you want to say about special teams. I will stand on this. Pillbox is getting taller and taller by the second. We missed a field goal in a tight ass game.
Yes, okay. The wind, it was a little windy, but if it's less than
it was a shanked kick.
If it's less than 40 yards, if it's less than 40 yards, you have to make it every time. That is the standard for college football. I don't care. It is the standard for FBS college football.
27-yarder, 25-yarder the next time. The ball went up in the air. It looked really nice. It had a nice trajectory. The first one was it was a low kick. It was shanked. There's no way first off, that's on the kicker and maybe the snapper and the holder. However, this is a trend. It's not like this happened. Like, what is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Shame on me, yeah.
You fool me every freaking time we watch a game on special teams. So, like, there needs to be I was telling this to somebody. There needs to be a dedicated special teams coach that people there needs to be consequences. And someone needs to take charge of that.
Yeah.
Instead of like an assistant coach. Like, if you had a defensive coach yell at me for special teams or anything, I didn't care. Dude, you're not my coach. Go away. Right? So, like, you're telling me the D-line coach or whoever, I'm just saying this, is a kickoff return. I mean, that's ridiculous. I was like, dude, get away from me. Like, you're not part of this game plan. Go down on your side and stay there. Talk to your D linemen that none of them play special teams. So, to me, it's obviously, you can see it's very frustrating that we consistently have, special teams kind of bloopers.
Yeah.
And in tight games, it really hurts us. And it killed us last week. And then this week, it's just it continues.
It's laughable. It is laughable if there is not a dedicated special. It's the worst special teams unit in the country for the second year in a row. And do you want to know the difference between Wisconsin and Iowa this year? Iowa has some of the best special teams in the country. Both teams, incredible defenses, really poor offenses. Iowa has a better record because they have elite special teams.
There you go. So, and I think Jimmy has to, I mean, I hate to say this and single people out, but as I watched Zach Wilson completely destroy the Jets yesterday, I'm not saying Graham is doing that, but I think the play calling is not to his ability. But, Graham is he'll throw one amazing pass and then one that floats, one that's, you don't know what he's, like, I don't know what he's thinking when I'm sitting here. Like, there are two guys that dropped the ball he overthrew somebody, and their people are open.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the thought process is there, but if I'm Jimmy and I'm taking over, I have to look at every position as, is this person the right person there? Even on the defense. Listen, he's the head coach, and everything rests on him. And I'm looking at, are the coaches the right coaches? Are the players the right players? And if I'm looking at defense, those guys are the right players.
Yes.
They had some, longer passes down the field, some missed whatever, and obviously a miscommunication on the touchdown. These things happen, right? It's a couple plays. The offense is having issues up, down, left, and right. And listen, the run game was working, but you can't just run the ball. As you see, we couldn't get in the end zone. So I think Jimmy has a tough slate. Listen, I think that we're going to a bowl game, which is
for me, what's even more important
things you could do.
No, but what the more important thing than the game itself is the 15 practices that they will get. That is so much more important than it's 12 practices, 15 practices, whatever it is. Those practices, especially assuming that Jimmy is named the head coach, are going to be so key for the program moving forward, gaining momentum into next season. Yeah,
at this point, listen, the defense is stellar. You got guys coming in off the bench; they're ready to play.
Yeah.
I think what's good is you get guys fresh, and then you get. We still got the Axe week coming up, so this is the biggest week of if they win, there is no chance Jimmy should even have an interim tag. Even if they lose, he shouldn't.
I want the tag off before the game because I think it'll look weird. If
we're losing recruits.
Yes, they've already lost 3. And
And that's only because of the instability. It's not.
Yes.
It's not because they don't like Jimmy.
No.
Dudes actually, Clint has said, dudes are looking at Wisconsin because Jimmy Leonhard is the interim head coach. Think about what Jimmy. First off, the defensive guys are coming.
They're coming.
I mean, that's going to happen. But if Jimmy's not the guy, that kills our recruiting class for the next couple years. And we only have 11 dudes for next year.
I think it's down. Yeah, it's 10 or 11 now at this point. And
I don't know what they're supposed to have, but that's not a good number.
It's a terrible number. It is a tiny number. And on top of that, it's especially difficult because Jamel Howard, I think, is really the key loss here, because it's hard to find big, thick nose tackles that can play like Keanu Benton. And Howard is a big, thick, athletic kid. And, I have issues with, I think he's trying to be too much of a pass rusher sometimes at the high school level. But, once he gets if he gets there under Kalaji, he could be a real player at nose tackle. And it's tough to find those bodies. Just that
he could
body
be Wendell Bryant.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Wendell Bryant was absurdly good at rushing the passer, but he was also a pretty good run stopper.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's those bodies that have traditionally been the hardest to recruit for. I mean, think about the really strong nose tackles for Wisconsin. There have been 3 in the last decade plus. Bo Allen, Olivia Sagapolu, and Keanu Benton are the only 3 true noses who have been real impact players. And unfortunately for Sagapolu, he got injured in his senior year. But it's those 3 guys, and it's so Sheehy was more of an end. He played more. He moved down to tackle on pass rushing situations, obviously, because he had the right body type. Henningsen did the same thing. But true noses, there are 3 true nose tackles in the last decade for Wisconsin that have been of consequence. It is so hard to find that position, and that's where the Howard decommit and potentially the Trey Pierce decommit. He visited Michigan this weekend. I mean, those were sort of the 2 cornerstones for this defensive class, and that is tough to lose potentially both of them.
It's killer. And then I know we're done, but that's killer. And on the flip side, let's say he's not named the head coach. I can't see Jimmy staying at Wisconsin.
No, there's no chance.
The shuffle would be crazy. Who knows what the coaching staff? It's like Elon Musk at Twitter. Everyone fired or leaving or doing so. And listen, that's not the right comparison. But if Jimmy's not the head guy, I doubt he stays. And if he doesn't stay, who sticks around?
No one. It's going to be
probably a bunch of guys.
I would say the only people that might stick around would be, I think Bostad might be the only person who sticks around, and Al Johnson, obviously, Kalaji, guys who have true ties to the school. But I could see Whitted and Poteet and April, and so it's Jimmy needs to be named the coach.
You still have to get the job.
Yes,
right, because the stability of the whole program right now rests. I mean, if he's not, what is it, 3 to 5 years until we're back on track?
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, it'll be hard for a coach to come in and just start getting dudes and do it. Now, the next thing is, Braylon Allen's I'm sticking around as long as Jimmy's here.
Yes.
So there's that, right? That's a pretty solid statement. So obviously, if Jimmy's not the head coach, Braylon Allen's going to leave.
He's gone, and there's going to be
so
other many guys going to the portal.
If Jimmy goes to Michigan or goes somewhere else, I don't think he's going to Michigan. But if he goes somewhere else, why is Herbig not going with him? Why is half the D line not going? So these things scare me as a Wisconsin Badger fan.
Yes.
And listen, I'm not saying Jimmy should get the job because of these X's and O's. I think he should get the job because he's proven that he is the guy for the job.
And he's proven the guy because they play so hard on every single damn snap. Even if the other team is out talenting them, out scheming them, no one is out working them under the last 6 games under Jim Leonhard. And that is the number one reason for me why he needs to have the interim tag taken off and be the head coach of the University of Wisconsin, because scheme is, but if they're not going to play hard for someone, it's not going to work. And the guys play hard for Jimmy.
I completely agree. I think you could put guys on the field, head coach or no, you're going to play really hard. But when you have a guy like Barry and you love him, right, and you got a guy like Jimmy who they obviously are rallying around. That's what you want to see, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to see a coach run into the locker room and every single person jumping and dancing around him. That's not normal on other places. And also, when Barry won in the bowl game, like a couple years ago. Do you see how happy those dudes were? Like,
yes,
these are the leaders that you rally around, right? And Wisconsin has that person. I think a lot of people who are making the decision understand that.
I hope. No, I
university
hope they
has to
understand
do. They do. The university has to do what they have to do. I get it, but the decision to me is clear, and it was clear when he took over and they went and won games and then competed against Michigan State. I think the Iowa game was just a complete breakdown of, like, our defense played great, our offense can't do anything, and I think it's clear that that's continuing. But our offense wasn't good at the beginning of the year. We have great running backs and some great wide receivers, but we had a lot of injuries, and we can't get the ball into these guys' hands. And to have 8 completions in a game is pretty brutal.
And honestly, Graham doesn't have time. He doesn't have time in a lot of these passing situations. Then it's all sort of coming together. You get the yips. He's overthrowing. He's getting the ball out too fast because he's scared that he's got ghosts and phantoms. I mean, I'm not saying it's a Sam Darnold situation, seeing ghosts out there, but I mean, you should know that as a Jets fan. But it's it's not
watching
great.
Zach Wilson play the same football as Graham Mertz.
Oh my God!
They don't step into balls. They're not on target, and these guys are supposed to be some of the most proficient pass target. So I don't know what you do, but you're right. The bowl game, you got to give other people an opportunity under center, see what they can do. And you know what? I think Jimmy has to hit the portal hard for a couple of dudes. I don't need 10 or 15. I think a lot of people are like, we need to get everyone. No, we have guys. We need to get
a
competitive quarterback. We need a half dozen. We need a lineman and a quarterback. If I'm looking at the offense.
And if I'm looking at the defense, Benton's gonna go pro, and they have no depth at nose tackle behind him, and so that's the other position. I mean, again, really tough position to get, but we saw impact defensive linemen in the portal last year. I'm thinking Jacqueline Roy went from Missouri to LSU. You will be able to find guys, especially with probably like all the dudes from Texas A&M about to hit the portal. Those were some really, I mean, not like Wisconsin was competing for most of those type of 5-star guys, but there are going to be guys available.
If you're a defensive guy and Jimmy's the head coach, you're going to play in the top. You're going to be on the top 5 defenses to play in college. You're going to go to the NFL.
Yes.
Wisconsin breeds NFL defensive guys. On offense, we're not doing so hot anymore, and the O-line, we're not doing it so well. Now we're doing really well with running backs, but we should have more guys on offense in the NFL.
Yes,
we just should. I think we do. And then, listen, Ches is high on my board right now, and I think Braylon should probably have come out after he got hurt and just stayed out. I mean, I don't mean that as he didn't play well. I love his
toughness and tenacity.
I love that. I absolutely love it. I just want him to stay healthy. And if he just got I don't know what happened to him. I didn't read it, but
the other thing was if he gets dinged up there, Garendo's been good this season, and Malusi was showing that he was the best back in the game. I don't know why you don't stick it with those two guys, because those two guys can both. I've proven that they are more than capable.
Braylon as a competitor, he's not going to come out.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I wouldn't either. I ran in on when I should never have gone back in. My knee was out of place, and I was like, "Give me the smallest sleeve," and then I went back out. But that's the knee's a little different than your shoulder. I love that. I just think we need you down the line, dude. We still got the axe game. But you know what? These dudes are putting their bodies at risk to play for Jimmy Leonhard.
Yes, they are.
Right? And it's not like it was a shoulder, and if it's just like a muscular thing, that's all right. You can come back from that. It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But we do have guys who can back them up. And I think eventually they figured it out to be like, let's just rest you for a little bit. Ches is doing all right. He's got your back. And we're good. We've went way too long.
We'll be back later this week. It's Axe Week with Brian Calhoun coming back to the pod. Really excited to talk with him. Speaking of Axe Week, he had a 3-touchdown game in his one game against the Gophers. So that was we'll talk with him about that. Yeah.
And going to Colorado.
I know,
Don't tell
right?
him I said that.
Well, I mean, he's listening, so he'll hear it. But I know he listens.
PC, I love you.
Well, he'll be back
I
with us
love
later
you.
this week on the pod. That's going to be fun. And then next week, we have former UW pole vaulter and American Ninja Warrior champ Taylor Amon coming on with us. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really pumped to chop it up with her. So, make sure you stay tuned and, you subscribe, you like, give us a rating, a review. We really appreciate that. And Bernie, you know what? It's a win. And like always,
It's a win.
On Wisconsin.
We're going to the bowl. We're going to a bowl game on Wisconsin.
Yep. We bowling for the 20th consecutive season.
I think it's 21st.
Yeah, 20th or 21st.
It's like my birthday coming up.
Yeah.
It's my birthday. I'm bowling for my 18th consecutive 21st birthday.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Sadly, it's my 19th 21st birthday.
Well, there you go. I celebrated my statute of limitations is up. I celebrated my fake ID's 22nd birthday at Wando's with 2 fish bowls.
Nice. There's nothing better than celebrating like somebody else's birthday that you have their ID.
Yes.
So I celebrated my scooter's 21st birthday. I was very happy about it. That's how much my scooter sucked after the first one got stolen.
That's fantastic.
All right, dude.
Okay. We'll be back.
Good times.
We'll be back later this week with BC. Until then, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin. Dude, when are we going?